Greetings, diners, and welcome to another edition of the Frostbite Falls Daily Rant here on the Daily Diner. Yes, it's not a collapse cafe this time, it is a daily rant. I haven't done one of those in a long time. Uh, what's the difference between a Frostbite Falls Daily Rant and a collapse cafe? Well, in a collapse cafe, I am a little bit more sedate and professional news like. And in a daily rant, I get pissed off, okay? uh, and also, collapse cafes used to be where I talked with other collapseniks and people concerned with the topics of industrial civilization failure. But I haven't had anybody to talk to lately. Nobody wants to talk to me anymore. uh, but I still have myself to talk to and you, okay? So here I am, and I'm going to rant. What's today's topic? Today's topic is the affordable housing crisis, which is ridiculous and insane and stupid, okay? Um, what got me started? Why did I decide I needed to rant on this topic? Well, I was reading an article uh, which quoted a bankster as saying that he foresaw the problem with affordable housing lasting not for another year or two, like they will often say, oh, we're going to have a slow period for, 6 months or a year, but then this market will pick up or yada, yada, yada. Uh, no, he foresees the housing market to be tight and a few homes for sale at very high prices for the next 6 to 8 years. Okay, and people will be, according to him, frustrated and they will be pissed off and stuck and unable to move on with their lives. Um, and this is an unavoidable problem because there is not enough housing built. The people who are in the houses won't sell them because they bought them at low interest rates, and if they were to move anywhere else, it would cost them a whole lot more for less house. So anybody who's got a house doesn't want to move. Anybody who needs a house can't get one, and it's going to be like that for the next decade. He believes this, all right, and so do other people. Now, if you haven't read anything, if you're living in a cave somewhere, then you know that the corollary to the affordable housing crisis is that uh, there are more and more homeless people every day. And the reason is because they can't afford the rents. All right? If people can't afford to buy houses, the people who normally would buy them end up having to rent, okay, and stay as renters. And so they are occupying all the rental units. So there's not the usual flux of people that sort of move through life. They graduate high school, college, and they move into a rental apartment, they get their first job, and so forth. Take a few years, build a little money, get a better job, and eventually get married and move out. That was what the pattern was supposed to be, right? Well, that doesn't happen anymore. People don't move out. In fact, they live home until they're 30 years old or 40. And the women, okay, they're living home too, and so they don't have kids, all right, and so we have nobody being born, which is another corollary to this whole problem. All right, so it has become impossible for a person living in this culture at this time to progress through life. You're infantilized. You remain a child forever. All right, uh, and it's looked on as some kind of inevitability. It has to be this way. All right, but it doesn't. It doesn't have to be this way. What's the problem? Why are there so few houses? Well, it goes back to the housing bubble of 2008, the crash, and all the rest of that, and all of the machinations that have gone on in the real estate market in the interim. And you can't buy houses because they're not building them. They're not building them, or at least they're not building affordable ones, because, well, and this is directly from the mouths of the builders, they cannot make a profit on houses because of the cost of land, the cost of building materials, and the cost of labor. All of those things have gone up, up, up. Inflation, of course. And the people, on the other hand, the first-time type buyers, they have not had salary increases commensurate with being able to afford anything more than a cheap house. So they are priced out of the market entirely. So they're not building these cheap houses, or they're not cheap because they haven't been cheap for 40 years, but at least semi-affordable houses. They're not building them at all because they can't make a profit on them. All they build is luxury houses. All right, so there's plenty of luxury housing, and if you got lots of money, okay, you can buy a house. But if you are a normal person with a normal income, then you are fucked. All right, you have to live in the street, or live in mom's basement, or couch surf, or something else. Uh, get a van, live in your van. I promote van dwelling. I think that is a good uh, solution right now, as solutions go, for people. You can live in a major city, places where the rent is $3,500 a month. You know, uh, get a job where you work 12 hours a day, 3 days a week. So you sleep in town 2 nights in your van, go to some parking lot, whatever. Uh, those 2 nights you sleep in your van, and then you drive, 50, 100 miles out of town and go to a nice campground, and you pay $40 a night in the campground. Nice legal camping and so forth. Um, and those places have showers and all the rest of the stuff, all the amenities you need. So you can live really cheap. And you make it comfortable. You tow a little camper trailer with you. You don't have to necessarily sleep in the van. So you can, get by. Just plan for it. Have the right type of vehicle ready for, that day you lose your job and you have to sell your house, or it gets foreclosed on you, or whatever. And be ready to move into your van and trailer comfortably. Don't be stuck trying to, live in your Volkswagen Beetle. Volkswagen actually makes a nice little EV van if you're into electrics. Uh, Although I don't necessarily think electric is the best choice if you're going to live in your van, because where are you going to plug it in, right? Electrics are good if you can plug it in at home, but right now there's not enough electric charging stations and so forth out there. So not necessarily the best choice. Of course, it is good for our environment if the electricity comes from renewable sources, which it usually doesn't. So anyway, so going back to the original problem, so what can we do about this? Is it really, a totally insoluble problem that has to last for the next 10 years? No, it does not. Okay? It's very simple. If the private builders won't build affordable houses, then the government has to build them. Okay? I don't care if it sounds socialist to you or whatever. It's just not a tenable situation. It is not reasonable that there is no housing, that we do not, as a society, have a place for people to live, uh, assuming they, are working people, making a decent living and so forth. We're not even talking just minimum wage jobs. We're talking people who are, at the next year up, making your $25, $30 an hour jobs. These are the people that are getting stuck now, getting fucked, that can't buy houses. Um, so the government needs to be doing this. We need to have a National Housing Act. And if those houses, if it's true, and I don't necessarily believe the builders that you really can't build houses that are, what do you call it, affordable and also make a profit. Maybe not a huge profit like you make on $1 million mansions or something, but, a reasonable profit. I'm sure it can be made. Or at least, you make some money, you can pay your workers a decent wage and so forth, but, everybody thinks they gotta, they deserve to be rich. If they're selling $1 million house, $500,000 of it should be profit, okay? And the guy who organizes the thing, he gets to keep like 350,000, and then he pays like $5,000 each to the guys who actually build the house, right? Um, the capitalist, the guy who is organizing it up, he thinks his job in the whole scheme of things is so important that he should be making big money, and all the laborers, all the people who actually do the physical work, they make bupkis or very little. It just there's something wrong with that too. That's a whole nother story. All right. So we need a housing act. Second thing is the whole mortgage system. You know, back in World War II days, when my parents bought a house and so forth, uh, the typical length of a mortgage was 15 years. Okay. Nowadays, it's 30 years. Okay, it takes 30 years to buy a house. In the old days, a house went for about 3 times the amount that an average person made in a year. Now it's 5 times, and even more, 6, 7 times the amount that you make. So you've got this problem where these mortgages are so long; they go through your whole life. All right, more than a generation to pay off a house. In the course of that time, anything can happen. First of all, if all goes well for you, you're probably going to move up in the world, and hopefully, in the old days, uh, move up, get a better job, and want a bigger house and so forth. So you're not probably not going to stay in a house 30 years. You're staying in a lot less. Okay, on the other side of the coin, if you have bad luck, the economy goes bad, or you get laid off, your company goes out of business, who knows what. You got to move out of the house and downsize. Either move to a smaller house or go back to renting. So there's so much shit that can happen in 30 years that's going to take you out of that house. That extending out the length of time to pay it just makes it more and more risky. All right, and it also raises the amount of interest that you have to pay to the banks, and those length mortgages is really just disguised perpetual rental. And if we lowered the time to 15 years, that would bring down the cost of the houses because you wouldn't be paying so much interest, and it would what do you call it? Prevent people from buying more house than they can afford, which is a tendency. You stretch it out for this long period of time, and it brings down the monthly payments some. All right, so you think, oh, okay, payment's only 2,000 a month or whatever, I can afford that. Except that when something happens in the economy, all of a sudden they can't. Now they have 1,500 left after they pay all their other bills, and they can't make the mortgage. They get foreclosed on, and they're out on the street, homeless, and living in their car. All right, that is bad, and it is happening all over the United States. So we have to put a stop to this. And we can put a stop to it. If some fucking politician would stand up and say, here's what we got to do. We have to start building affordable houses and affordable apartment units, condos, today. Not today. Yesterday. Build it yesterday. Not in a year or 10 years from now. All right? Has to be done. If you can't make a profit on it, we have to subsidize it as taxpayers. I'm sorry. Because what's worse? Subsidizing it at an affordable rate or subsidizing homeless shelters, which end up costing a lot more. You know how much it costs to keep a homeless person sheltered? A lot. They're spending millions, billions of dollars in these places, and they're throwing people in like cattle. And now they're talking about putting them into concentration camps, okay, with the razor wire, the whole business, all right, with the latest act from the Supreme Court that now makes it basically a criminal act to be homeless, okay? Just because you cannot afford a place to live, you're automatically criminal because there's no place for you to go. They run out of shelter space. And what are you supposed to do? Okay? Where are you supposed to go? You can't trespass on somebody's private property, right? So you go to a public park or the street or something like that. And as long as you're, staying out of people's way and doing the best you can, I mean, if you're harassing people and shit, that's a different story. But if there's no place for you to go, how can you make that criminal? All right, which is what it is, and it's just disgusting. It's disgusting that we're letting our society fall apart like this, and disgusting that there's no politicians that will do something about it. And you, me, all of us have to stand up and say enough. Let's fix this problem. There are many problems that we have right now that are unfixable. That our climate being one of them. Okay, we're fucked. We're just fucked. All right, and probably a lot of things in our monetary system can't be fixed. That's fucked too. All right, it's going to crash. Period. End of sentence. Nothing will do. Nothing will stop it. Okay, I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen, but it's coming. Um, but the housing situation, this can be fixed, and let's do it. Okay, that's all the doom. This time, until next time, here on the Doomstead Diner and the Frostbite Falls Daily Rant. And come visit us at the Doomstead Diner forum at chasingthesquirrel.com. Okay? Talk to you soon.